named after them or to be remembered this or that, something like that. I'll share the video with you. But his own, supposed the late colleague, Inua Achebe, rejected the offer there, right? He rejected I think I even have a write up of that. So he rejected the offer of national honor given to him by Obasanjo in 2004. And his reasons then was that, Nigeria is a complete disappointment due to the kind of leadership they have. The people are, there's no real leader that has shown that they were willing and ready to manage Nigeria's diverse, differences and all that. Hang on, I think I actually have one. Yeah, he said, in quote, he said, for some time now, I have watched events in Nigeria with alarm and dismay. About this was 21 years ago. 21 years ago. He said, I have watched, particularly the chaos in my own state of Anambra, where a small clique of renegades, openly boasting its connections in high places, seems determined to turn my homeland into a bankrupt and lawless fiefdom. I am appalled by the brazenness of this clique and silence, if not connivance, of the presidency. 43 years ago, at the first anniversary of Nigeria's independence, I was given the first Nigerian National Trophy for Literature. In 1979, I received two further honors, the Nigerian National Order of Merit and the Order of the Federal Republic. In 1999, the first National Creativity Award was given to me. I accepted all these honors, fully aware that Nigeria was not perfect, but I had a strong belief that we would outgrow our shortcomings under leaders committed to uniting our diverse peoples. Nigeria's condition today under your watch is, however, too dangerous for silence. I must register my disappointment and protest my declining to accept this high honor awarded me in the 2004 honors list. Achebe rejected the national honor simply because he witnessed the level of political brigandage that was taking place in Anambra at the time, that he couldn't believe it. This is supported by the presidency of the country. You remember the Uba brothers, Chris Uba and Andy Uba of the. So I wouldn't want to take any national honor again. So he rejected at the time. So in 2010, was it 2010 or 2011? 2011, when Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was spending his first independence as the substantive president of Nigeria. Remember? So Achebe was also listed as to receive national honor. He rejected it again. And according to him, then quoted by the Guardian, right? It was quoted to have said, 27 years ago, I wrote a pamphlet called Trouble in Nigeria, which was about corruption. Today, matters are worse because they have been allowed to get worse. So he rejected the national honor again or anything at all being named after him or anything, So those are the people who are like in their youth, like when they were so far younger than us, than you and I. Yeah, I'm kind of getting old now, right? I'm talking about in their 20s, early 20s, late 20s, early 30s. These were guys who were like so very much like active in everything they were involved. Those who have been in the academics at the time, like Achebe and Soyinka and others, right? They had their vision of what country should be. They were so young enough that they believed that if Nigeria was to be really independent, right, it has to form, they had this vision. And throughout their youth, they watched this dream faded away. You get what I mean now? And in their old age, they still see that, amen. So imagine you that you are in your 30s right now, and you probably, in this your short-lived life so far, right? So you are imagining that you've seen enough wars, the terrible leadership, corruption. These ones have been seeing it since they were so young as well. Now, 50 years after, 60 years after, it has gone worse. So imagine what is it going to be like in 2070. Well, because 2070 means 45 years away. So add 45 years to your age right now. How old do you think you're going to be? And imagine what it is going to be like if things continues like this, right? So Soyinka said he used to, reject stuffs like this. But right now, he realized that, for the culture, he will have to accept it. And he went on to tell other meaningless other stuff like stories, like an old man, but again, trying to show his appreciation to Kolu. Here is what Kolu said. Kolu said, no, it was me. There's no conspiracy. I did it. That means he renamed the place after him. It's an achievement. Kolu.
For their uncle and leader, one of the most talented and creative mind, Uncle Wole Soyinka. No conspiracy anywhere. I did it. When they brought the question of renovation to my desk, I remember the journeys that we had together and the gains that I shared with you. Your contribution to our courage, nation building, freedom. Yes, in some cases, unrewarded talents is a proverb. But you are our jewel, our talent. Whether proverb or being, you are one of the greatest assets of the world, the continent, and the country, Nigeria. So it couldn't have been anything else. And I know definitely you will not disobey this president. So I say it has to be Wole Soyinka Center. They corrected my English, but culture and rename it. And I'm glad we are here tonight. Well,
Said when they brought the idea of the National Theatre to me, something when they say they don't compete as well as people to I know how to so yeah. Sorry about that. So the audio was like, oh dear. Anyway, you heard all I said though, right? I know, sorry about that. You hear all I said. I can repeat myself. Okay. You didn't hear all oh dear. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll take it again. What side is that? 50. That's gonna be like a 53 minutes. So everybody who, I wish I knew. Anyway, I'll take care of it. So now let me tell you what I said. So I said Kolu. Right. So I'll repeat myself. Don't worry. Let's take it again. So what I was saying there was that Kolu is claiming credit for renovating the National Theatre. However, it wasn't him. It was Bokwari. As horrible as Bokwari was, yeah, the renovation, God knows how many billions. I mean, I didn't grab that, right? How many billions, but the renovation was done by Bokwari. Emefiole was categorically commissioned to raise money for it. And he did. And they awarded a contract, and the whole construction was done even before Tinubu came in. So when Tinubu came in, they took it to him again and said the National Theatre, the renovation and all of that. So Tinubu and his gang, through the Ministry of Culture or wherever they call it, they took another money, which this time around was to probably paint funny, I don't know, right? And then plaster Professor Soyinka's names on it. Or Kolu is pretty much saying, no, I mean, I did it. Fine. But it's actually a very good work. Oh, I wish I grabbed some of their images and all that. I don't know how much they spend, right? So you've got recording studios, you've got cinema halls, you've got, I mean, like, they did a good job there, I would say, you know. So then Soyinka himself, the confessor, had this to say. This one is a long watch, okay?
Let me begin by confessing, and I think you know this, that I accepted this honor with mixed feelings. First of all, I'm notorious for having criticized so many appropriations, personal appropriations of public monuments by some of our past leaders, in which we end up, everything is named after them. I think I would, at a modest, even generous estimate, say that about 25% of monuments, whether they're buildings or roads in particular in this country or whatever institutions, are well and truly deserved. I haven't been guilty of saying that other people do not merit this kind of monumental dedication. And then I have to stand up in public and watch my name being put up as yet another appropriator. It just didn't sit very well on me. But by the time I thought it over again, no, I mustn't forget, one of your predecessors, I actually challenged him in public in Abuja. I must mention this. I said, you're supposed to be, right in public there, you're supposed to be the figure of probity. And yet, you're now occupying a space. The main road towards which is named after one of the most brutal and venal rulers we've ever had in this country. How do you justify that? Of course, he just looked at me and smiled and went on with his own business. I only mention that as one notorious instance of my approach to this, to naming ceremonies, naming events. However, by the time I looked at the history of theater in this country, and I think of my predecessors, Hubert Ogode, Dola Dipo, Fiberissima, the very little known and recognized and celebrated opera composers, operatic composers. Think of Akinyuba, also musician, composer. Think of Akbabot, another one. By the time I looked at all of them, I said, well, somebody has to carry the can. And if a group of bankers have got together, using some of my money also, I bank with them after all. in order to honor me. What's wrong with that? I said to accept it. I also had a personal reason, nostalgia. Nostalgia. I remember this building when it was first erected during a military regime. I think we called it the General's Hat because of the shape of the roof. There's, of course, in the conception, very little of what I call the African architectural intelligence in it. In fact, it was an uprooted structure, which the then Commissioner of Culture saw when he went to, I think it was Bulgaria, and it was not a real theater, it was a Palais de Sport, where people parade in honor of power and then do a bit of athletics, just to show that they're bringing in the people. I took one look at it and he said, I'll take that, but make it 1.5 times the size, because Nigeria is bigger than this country. And that's how this building came to be. All right. Still, we said, we'll manage it. And we had Festac 77 in this very hall. This very hall is a different hall, completely. It's nothing like what that building became over the years. Degraded to such an extent that when Lagos was celebrating 50 years anniversary, and we looked for a hub, a center of activities which will be taking place elsewhere. One of the places we visited was what was here, which is now transformed. I took one look at it, and when the governor and his team wanted to come back and take a second look, I said, you go without me. I said, I've advised you, get somebody secretly, plant a bomb, blow it up. You know. Mabel, I said. It was not just a desert, it was a slum. And these bankers have got together to make me eat my words. Well, if eating one's words produces a morsel like this, then it's a very tasty set of words. And I want to thank you and congratulate you for doing what I considered and pronounced impossible. Then there's another reason why I thought I should accept. Well, I was already ambushed anyway. They announced it as usual behind my back. As MK Abiola would say, they shaved my head in my absence. But still I would have raised a squawk. But then I decided, this building owes me. It owes me. And one of the reasons, one of the debts, was that this building nearly electrocuted 2 of my actors. That is how decrepit it had become. The roofs were leaking, so there were pools of water everywhere. And of course, there were electric wires also. I think, I hate to say it, almost as if they were deliberately attached to those pools of water. And I nearly lost 2 of my performers here when we came to perform Camwood on the leaves. So that was definitely one debt it owed me. And when shortly after that, I think when a group of artists came to see me in the office, my borrowed office in Lagos, and they said, we want you to come with us, to join us. We want to protest. It seems as if some business people, that was the first attempt, wanted to take this over, and we think they shouldn't be allowed. I said, better go and prostrate yourselves and thank anybody who was foolish enough to want to take over that place. Just go away, leave me alone. But again, I think that created a challenge to the banking consortium, because this is a different group. I think it created a challenge. So having thrown out that challenge and having it picked up, I decided
it's been fixed. They couldn't even acknowledge Bokuwari or Emefiole at all. So it's referring to them the people who actually fixed the place, who raised the money. Because when I say raise money, I mean it was like the central bank governor taxing his friends who have benefited through his office as, when I say his friends, like other